It is great to welcome to the show today a man who knows a lot about beer, and he's written an updated version of his Tasting Beer, an insider's guide to the world's greatest drink. We're happy to welcome Randy Mosher to the show today. And Randy, good to talk with you. How are you?
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
I was looking through the archive. I don't know if I have the interview still, but I thought we might have talked when the first one came out. That was about, 7, 8 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2009. So,
2009. I think we did at that time. I was looking to see if I still had the interview. Unfortunately, I don't, but good to have you back. So it's been about 8 years.
Great to be here.
And, what's been new with you? What's new in beer? I guess that's the big question, right?
Well, what's new in beer? Well, if you haven't noticed, IPA. That's the big hot thing. You know, it used to be just we had IPA, and it was sort of one beer, and then we had a double, and then now we've got black ones, white ones, red ones, Belgian ones, session ones, triple ones. So, and now the new New England style, the sort of hazy, fruity ones. So, it's amazing. There's still so much evolution going on, so much churn and creativity. It's pretty exciting.
Now, I was allergic to the ingredients in beer growing up, so I never really could drink it. But kind of talking to friends and know a little bit about it. But I know a few years ago they started putting lime in beer. I thought that was kind of unusual. Did that take off, or what happened with that? Lime flavored beer, am I right about that?
Well, the lime started with sticking the lime in the Corona,
right.
and that was originally to kill that skunky taste, that skunky smell that it had. That's what I always heard. But, I'm involved with 2 breweries in Chicago, and we make a passion fruit wheat beer at one of them, and we use fresh lime peel in that because it has a nice little snap and beautiful aromatic character. So it's really sort of about what's appropriate. And, of course, Bud Light has their Bud Light Lime thing, which is, macro beer of not great interest to most of the craft drinkers out there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought fruit and beer would have gone together in the same glass, but I guess some people like that, huh?
Yeah, one of the hot trends right now is fruity IPAs, especially I think they're really big in Denver and the West Coast. We don't see them in the Midwest too much. They don't seem to be a big thing, but there's a lot of change, a lot of churn.
I know about, 5, 10 years ago, it seemed like microbreweries sort of took off. Each restaurant or area had their own brewery or style of beer. Is that still the case?
There's 5,000 breweries in this country right now,
wow.
And probably at least another 1,000 or 1,500 in planning. So, and that's double what it was when I wrote the first book.
Yeah.
So it's doubled in that time. It probably won't double again very soon, but because it's starting to get a little crowded out there on the shelves and on the tap handles. But it's people want local. People really like starting breweries. It's something cool to do, and as a business, it's a very difficult business, and you're going to wait a very long time before you actually make any money. But still, people are kind of driven to it because they see it as an artisanal thing and a way to have a career and a business that's really in touch with its customers, and you're making people happy, and for lots of different reasons other than just pure business.
I guess it's just the local ingredients or different recipes, and then I guess you can bottle it a certain way or put your own logo on the bottle, and I guess it's more of a branding for your business at that point than anything else, right?
Well, yeah, the thing about beer is that everybody's got access to the same ingredients. There's not a lot of places that can grow hops. They require certain latitude and certain kind of climate and things, so you can't grow hops in southern part of the United States, for example. So, and barley the same way, it only grows in certain places. So it's not so much about local, but what it is about is local taste, local intent. The thing about beer is it's really very much about the creativity and the intentions of the people who brew it. So that's what's really different about it and wine, for example, is that wine is sort of all about the real estate and turning this soil and weather into whatever expression of that most wants to be in a wine bottle. But beer is sort of all about what do you feel like? What's your point of view? What do what does this brewery stand for? What do they like? What do they mean? What are their stories? And kind of translating that into liquid form.
And a wine can take a year or two, maybe longer to get the vintage together and bottle it. Beer doesn't take that long, right? You can brew that within a couple of days, or is it less than that?
Well, the brewing process itself takes a few hours, and then normally fermentation will take about a week and a half
about a week, okay.
to about a month. tending, And the exception is the sour type of beers that people are doing, and the barrel-aged beers, those things that go into wood, generally take months or even a year or two to fully mature. So that's the one exception. They're not a huge part of the volume of beer, but they're certainly on the radar and kind of an exciting thing for a lot of people.
And you talk about it in the book. You got some great pictures and recipes and chapter on different kind of food pairings. I guess people are combining different types of food now with beer. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about beer is that you have this amazing variety of color, of strength, of different kinds of flavors, and you also have an amazing range of flavors that are in beer. And if you just think about, for example, the flavors of malt, you have bready, cracker, cookie, cake, caramel, nutty, toasty, roasty, chocolate, coffee. Those are all food words. And the reason they're in beer is the same reason that they're in food, because you cooked it. And so that gives you a great starting point for a lot of different common flavor elements that help you put those pairings together. And so whatever the dish is, you've got a beer that has some way to link up the flavors and also to match the intensity. So you can put a really heavy, strong beer together with a really intense dish, like some grilled lamb or barbecue or something, and you can maintain that partnership where the beer and the food each change a little bit, but they're still there when you're eating the pairing. It
intensifies the flavor of both, I guess, in a sense, right? If you have the right food combination with beer, it makes both taste better. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yes, exactly.
And then cheese, you also talk about cheese pairings as well. I never really thought cheese and beer. You think wine and cheese, but people like to combine cheese and beer too, right? Different types of cheese.
Actually, if you can get a sommelier and get a beer in them, they'll admit that wine and cheese is not a very good combination. the beer really kicks wine's butt when it comes to cheese, because cheese is very fatty, and with a lot of wine, the wine is not enough to cut the fat, and so the fat kind of coats your mouth and makes it actually a little more difficult to taste the wine. So with beer, you have bitterness that kind of balances out fat. You have all this carbonation that helps scrub it off, and there's just a lot of flavor harmonies between beer and cheese. It's almost impossible to go totally wrong. But there are a lot of great pairing combinations that work really nicely with cheeses. And, of course, if you're going to run a little tasting, it's super easy to just go to a good cheese counter and get a half a dozen cheeses and buy some beers, and you're off and running.
Yeah, you have a lot of info in the book that people want to set up tasting events. So that's become more popular now, isn't it? People setting up their own tasting events.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's no better combination. We just started baseball season, a beer and a dog at the game, right? That's still pretty popular, isn't it?
That'll work. It's all about the moment. It's all about the moment. It's all about the experience. You can overthink anything, and certainly you can beer. And I would never want beer to not be fun for people. So, hot dog and an American lager at a baseball game, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, been around for 150 years, so it's a great combination. And again, the name of the book, really interesting book. You don't have to be a beer lover, but if you are, it's going to help it make it taste better for you. Called Tasting Beer, an insider's guide to the world's greatest drink. And Randy Mosher has been our guest. Randy, you have a website you can direct people to, get more information?
Yeah, they can go to randymosher.com. It's Mosher. And there's information about the books and the breweries I'm involved with and a lot of others.
Great. Randy, pleasure talking to you. Good luck with the book. Hopefully we can talk again, but thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.